Aiken area.
From the station that's on your side, News 12, First at 5, continues.
Good afternoon once again. The Richmond County School Board getting ready to talk about what to do about masks in schools for the rest of the school year and summer school.
Masks have been optional already at Aiken County schools even before the CDC lifted the mandate for everyone who's been vaccinated. But as we reported yesterday, plenty of kids 12 and older are now starting to sign up to get their vaccine. News 12's Will Rio live outside of the Richmond County Board of Education with the district plans to do. Will.
Yeah, we're about 30 minutes out from that meeting here at the Board of Education office, and the biggest thing in the spotlight right now is if masks will be required going through the rest of the school year, regardless of how many people are vaccinated in the Richmond County school system. And the district tells me that they will continue to push for students and staff to wear a mask even if they're vaccinated, and that's because of Governor Brian Kemp's executive order saying schools need to have additional measures to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Richmond County case numbers right now are about a quarter of what they were when school started. Percent positives are also down in the school system, and regardless of all of that and more people getting the vaccine, masks will be worn.
We're going to adhere to the governor's order and continue to follow the guidance to take the extra precaution to make sure that we finish the school year strong and that our students and staff continue to be safe.
And as for summer learning in next school year, they say that this is all still up in the air if masks will be worn. They're continuing to work with the DPH on whether they need to have those for next school year. And we'll compare Richmond County's number to some of our other local school districts coming up on News 12 at 6 o'clock. Guys?
All right, Will, thanks for that. Taking a look now to downtown Augusta.
Thanks a lot, Riley. The mother of Jamal Sutherland calling the firing of 2 deputies involved in her son's death investigation a victory. This comes after yesterday's announcement by the Charleston County Sheriff that she fired those deputies.
I consider that a victory for everybody out there that's going through mental health, for everybody who has children of color, because the system seemed like it was going to go against us. But God is who we depended on, and it was done. One day of people going out to say they were going to march, and something was done that should have been done a long time ago.
In that interview, she goes on to say she believes someone tried to cover up the incident.
But I think until pressure is put on people, especially when it comes to politics, nobody's going to move. But once politics gets involved and you can't sit comfortably in your office anymore, then action has to be taken. So that's the only reason they took action. Nothing would have been done.
Body cam footage of this case, the incident leading up to his death, that was released last week.
The FBI in North Augusta today serving a search warrant. Here's what the scene looked like this afternoon. Had the whole neighborhood talking. This is on Lake Greenwood Drive, and you can see FBI agents there searching through or collecting some evidence right there in the garage. We don't know of any suspects in an investigation. They haven't named anyone, but all that we did confirm was that the FBI was there in Lakes and Streams for a search warrant.
You might have seen the ads running about the Georgia vote care or a firing squad. Lawmakers hope the state can restart after a shortage of drugs of lethal injection caused a 10-year pause on executions.
Also this afternoon, family remembering the life of Ian Wilson, one of the voters who went missing on Clarks Hill Lake back in April. He was laid to rest at Hillcrest Park here in Augusta, and then the family went over to Meadowbrook Park for a cookout today. Ian and his best friend E.J. Kirk went missing after one fell in the water and the other jumped in after. DNR recovered their bodies about a week later. E.J.'s funeral was last Saturday.
Aiken County Public Schools surprising a teacher at Midland Valley High School with a ceremony today. Arisha Masters named the district's Career Specialist of the Year for the Lower Savannah region. As a career counselor, she guides students towards reaching their goals after school. Ms. Masters says she was overwhelmed when she found out she was nominated.
I don't feel like I deserve it. I feel like there's lots of other good, great career specialists out there, but very much appreciative too, because it feels great to be acknowledged and appreciated, but just overwhelmed right now.
You can tell how much it means. Miss Masters has been a career counselor for 13 years now. Her career advice: find something that's a fit for you.
Great advice. Well, for the first time this season, masks no longer required at SRP Park during Green Jackets games, just in time for the game tonight.
It comes as the mask mandates are being lifted all across the country, and our sports director, Mike Akachonis, is live out at SRP Park right now. And Mike, is this something we're going to see with other sports as well as these restrictions start lifting?
Yeah, Richard, this is actually something we're already seeing across other sports. The NHL, with the Hurricanes and the Predators last night, allowed 12,000 fans into the game. And then even in the minor leagues itself, we're seeing that start to take place. Just last week, when the Jackets were in Myrtle Beach, the Pelicans announced that they would not have mask mandates, and now SRP Park is doing the same. So that means whether it's entering the stadium, walking the concourse, waiting in the concession line, or sitting in your seat, you will not be required to wear a mask. Now, one quick note about the employees. I did see all the food employees still wearing masks, but some of the general employees who are walking around cleaning things up in the park, they are still wearing masks. Some of them are not. And then, folks, obviously the next big question is what's next after this? Full capacity. Green Jackets officials tell me they hope to make SRP Park fully available for everyone at a full capacity at the start of June.
And I guess fans who are comfortable wearing a mask are still allowed to do that in SRP Park. Mike, did the Jackets ever come out with a mask of their own?
Yes, I actually saw manager Michael Saunders wearing a medical mask, but as for a mask itself with the Green Jackets labeling, there was one while they were still they had one while they were still affiliated with the Giants. I haven't seen a Green Braves one. They had an orange one with the team logo on it, but nothing Braves related just yet. Hopefully soon.
Yeah, those will be collector's items one day when we all look back on the pandemic and remember life with a mask. Mike Akachonis live at SRP Park. Should be a good night for baseball.
My collector's items are not making it to the attic. I am throwing them away.
You're a tosser, I'm a keeper.
Yeah, I know.
We know this.
But in 50 years, if you want to look back at Richard's collection of masks, somebody will have it.
One day somebody's going to want that mask with a little Green Jacket logo, and I can tell them a long story about 2020.
And they'll be able to save some Corona from it and revive the experiment. But now tickets for every single game of the season. Everybody knows I love Richard more than my luggage. That's from my favorite movie.
There you go.
So.
I would not use the mask and sell it. It's going to be in a Ziploc. Anyway, let's talk about the tickets.
Okay, all of them, all single game tickets of the season are on sale. So if you want them, you can go get them.
You can get them online. You can buy them in person at the box office, mask or not, we don't care. And the tickets come with promotional schedule as well. So there you go, live from the Green Jackets.
Oh man, coming up, we are used to seeing restaurants inside of certain businesses. So why not have a restaurant in a car dealership? That story coming up after a short break.
And if you are heading to the Green Jackets game tonight, beautiful weather, and we're looking dry for the rest of the week, only getting much hotter. We'll take a look at that heat coming up.
Subs. Enjoy more subs. Save more lives.
You know, we see restaurants inside of places like grocery stores, maybe a Starbucks or McDonald's, but what about inside a luxury car dealership?
News 12's Brianna Collier went over to Jim Hudson Lexus. She talked to the lady behind their gourmet cafe.
People come in off the street just to eat.
Tucked away behind the cars in Jim Hudson Lexus.
My menu changes every day.
You'll find Sharon Caskey cooking up one of her homemade favorites, whether it be soups, salads, or one of her baked goods.
There's a lot of curiosity about this because having a restaurant inside of a dealership is not typical. It's not normal.
And while it's not ideal to have a gourmet cafe inside of a car dealership,
as a car salesperson, oftentimes a client would say, gosh, we're hungry, let us leave and think about it.
Well, Caskey says that's exactly where the idea came from.
So the idea was born to have a fine dining cafe inside of a dealership for that very reason.
Caskey sold cars for about 3 years until she decided to roll up her sleeves and bring in a taste of home with At Your Service Gourmet Cafe. And the response, well, that speaks for itself, seeing more than a dozen people on a daily basis.
Anywhere between 60 and 85.
She says seeing the joy on people's face after they take a bite out of one of her creations is really what it's all about.
Food is instant gratification. When somebody takes a bite of that sandwich or a sip of soup and they love it, automatically, and it's it's surreal. You can watch their faces. That is what I like. That's what gets me up every day.
You can tell she loves what she does. She says Monday, we're going to help you plan your week.
Yeah.
Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, those are soup days.
Okay.
Breakfast from 7 in the morning until 10. Lunch from about 11:30 until 3:30 in the afternoon.
See, I love this. I love when businesses get it. You know, the people are hungry. They're waiting on their car.
Yeah.
Just give them a restaurant. This is brilliant.
Get away from the vending machine.
Yes, customer service. But she says other employees from other dealerships even come in. She says this is all inside of the Jim Hudson Lexus. It's on Washington Road, and you don't have to buy a car to grab a bite to eat.
Which is good
so
to hear, yeah.
that significantly lowers your bill.
Especially the crew from Honda coming from down the street.
Yeah, that's great.
They need to know that.
I love it.
All right, let's have a look outside.
3% of drugstores, 3% on dining, including takeout, and 1.5% on everything else you buy. Chase, make more of what's yours.
We know the pandemic forces us all to socially distance, and social media, that was the way to stay connected. Still is.
Yeah, and for some teens, their need to constantly use social media is lingering. Kiera Hood spoke with some teens and an expert to see if they're relying more on social media since the pandemic started.
About how many social media apps do you have on your phone right now? If you ask a teen this question, the answer may sound similar to this.
TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and Facebook.
TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Doherty Comprehensive students Tobias Brown and Zion Hurd say most often than not, you'll find at least 3 social media apps in constant rotation. And since the pandemic started, the amount of time spent on these apps has increased significantly.
When the pandemic hit, I stayed on social media in the morning. We had no school. You know, school was counselor. So I wake up in the morning, get on Facebook, get on Instagram, whatever, go to sleep at night, make sure I have to check everything, make sure I don't have no notification before I go to sleep.
It became a cycle and in some ways an escape from what was really happening.
I wasn't able to see my friends, wasn't able to see family. People were dying. I needed a laugh, and TikTok was that for me. Instagram was that for me. Twitter was that for me. They were an outlet to allow for us to be free from the bounds of our 4 walls.
So with the increased use of these apps, child and adolescent therapist Susanna Warrington says there's a harsh reality.
Social media is not going to go away.
However, there are some things you can do to manage your child's social media use in a healthy way.
So maybe it's as simple as just putting our phones away and having a meal together, just for 10-15 minutes without a distraction. And then also allowing children and teens to earn that phone time. So maybe they're allowed to be on their phone several hours a day, and they can earn some extra time after they've spent time with the family, or maybe they've done some chores, maybe they've gone outside and done some exercise. But definitely some of those small steps might improve the overall effect of being on social media so often.
In Albany, Kiera Hood.
And parents, Dr. Warmington also has something for you. She says parents should set a good example for the kids. Limit your screen time as well. How hard is that?
That is actually probably the harder part. I mean, it really is hard. And you realize it's an addiction. I mean, when you're sitting there scrolling, half the time you're looking at mess for them anyway.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I'm out of diapers.
Yeah.
My
line at home was, I need to be on Facebook and Twitter. This is my job. I'm paid to be here.
It is
Put your
hard,
phone down.
though. That is the ultimate, too. I mean, already, even my baby, I mean, she's swatting the phone for attention. You're like, okay, this is bad.
She can swipe.
Let me
She
put
doesn't
this
have to
away.
look at the pictures yet.
Yeah. Give her to
Get
month
there.
12.
It doesn't take long. It doesn't take long. Riley?
All right, well, maybe